Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 23 of the InkPod podcast. We have here today a special guest. I think you're our second shop, Sean, that we've interviewed.
That's correct.
It's been mostly brands and suppliers. Alex is from Streetwear House, and we're happy to have you here, man. Thanks for joining.
Hey, I appreciate you guys for the invite. I'm ready to spit some game for everybody that's up in the screen print world right now,
Excited for this one. This is going to be fun.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a good one for sure. I've been following him now for, I don't know, maybe like 6 months. I mean, his content's awesome, and we're just happy to have him on here. So, yeah, Alex, maybe just dive into a little bit about how you got into the industry, how long ago, how your business has grown. I mean, I see it seems like every couple months you're kind of getting a new piece of machinery. So whatever you're doing right.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. I feel like everybody has that introduction into like screen printing through like bands and people starting brands. And when I was younger in high school, I always had like older homies that was trying to start a brand, but the thing is they didn't know anything that they were doing. They were all starting their brands with a Hobby Lobby kit, like a $50 Hobby Lobby kit. And that's what I thought was screen printing. So I kind of looked up to them and I got my own kit and started pressing t-shirts at my house, thinking I was a boss. And I knew what was up at that time. But eventually, I wasn't really working. Like I didn't really have a real job at the time. My girlfriend at the time, she was like, "Hey, you need a job." And I was like, "Well, I'm kind of interested in this whole screen printing thing." She's like, "All right, cool. I'm about to drop you off at the most local screen printing shop right now." And so I was kind of like forced to get a job because I was like, still wanted to keep her and stuff like that because I wasn't doing much at the times. And then I worked at a contract print shop for 6 to 8 months. And I remember when I was first interviewing, I acted like I knew what everything was going on, even though I was just doing it off my Hobby Lobby kit. And so that was one of the reasons why he was maybe not going to hire me, because he thought I knew it all. And, when you're trying to train somebody in a screen printing shop from one shop to another, you guys do things completely different. I've heard this saying before that you can have two shops in the same city with the same piece of same, but you're going to get two different results. It's just because of all the process and everything involved with that. But I got my in at that screen printing shop and kind of realized, I was like, why am I working here 30 to 40 hours a week when I can do one of these orders in my basement and pretty much be equivalent to that 40-hour paycheck? And then I was like, okay, bet. So I've always been a hustler, bro. Even on like some Craigslist days, I'd be on the forums on Craigslist, like doing like, maybe mural jobs, because my whole background is kind of like skateboarding, graffiti and stuff like that. So I'm a hustler in that aspect. So I got one client, and my first client that I pretty much got, they would order, I think, like 100 to maybe 500 shirts a week. So it was like a dream client, but it happened to be one of my first ones. And so I just gave him the contract pricing. I literally took the pricing from my job and was like, hey, this is what I can do it at. It was all one color stuff, so I could pull it off. I think I went on Facebook Marketplace and got a setup, a flash dryer, freaking old Hopkins press. I mean, bro, the registration on this thing was just janky, man. Like, they can only do one color. But it was a four-color press. So I did that, and I was hustling. I was like, you know what? I'm done with this job. I'm making $500 to $1,000 a week just chilling in my mom's basement printing shirts one day a week. I was like, dude, this is the life right now.
Yeah.
I had so much free time because I was doing a clothing brand at the same time. And so I was printing my own stuff as well as printing for other people. But that's pretty much my introduction to this. But with Street Warehouse, it's kind of my second chances, I'd like to say, is because I've had my own print shop by myself, and I've had an auto, I've had the whole warehouse and everything, but I was doing too much as an individual. So that eventually kind of collapsed on me because all the pressure. I was doing that for like 4 or 5 years. And then I met my business partner, Tyler, who was doing embroidery out of his parents' house. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm burnt out from this. I need help. And he was everything that I wasn't. He's all the technical process sides. He runs like the printable for the shop and stuff like that. And I just wanted to focus on the art and also the creative process of building out a page. And so with us two linked together, this was like the duo. You know what I'm saying? There was a time in my life where I was like praying about who I need a business partner because this is just too much. And Tyler walked in my life, and then we just kind of collabed on this project. But that's how I got into Street Warehouse. But that's my whole introduction.
Nice.
That's insane.
It's a couple things I could resonate with when I owned my print business. I remember when I wanted to, start printing T-shirts, I had a buddy of mine that was using, who now became one of my clients just as of recently, kind of full circle, company called T-Shirt Gang. And, you would sell your designs on eBay, then he would print them. And then afterwards, I was like, I'm like, oh, this is a pretty cool business. And I'm like, that's kind of a lot, 13 US for a T-shirt. Like maybe we can make it ourselves. And then, I found the supplier. At the time, you could buy a shirt for like $2. And I'm like, oh, well, what do I need to print? And it's like, how to start a T-shirt business. It's like, all you need is a cutter and vinyl and a heat press, and you're good. So I bought this. I'm like, dude, $3,000 to like become a millionaire? Like, I'm gonna rake this in. Then I got my first job of like 200 pieces, and it was all text based. And I'm like weeding there all day. And I'm like, even if I had a million jobs lined up, I could never make money doing this. And then that's when we kind of did the research, found Brother, at the time and still is the biggest player in DTG. And I reached out to RB Digital, and, that's how I ended up buying off of them. So yeah, I could definitely relate to that. And the second point was it's hard to do everything on your own. When I started the business, it was with my partner, Nick. And very quickly we brought on my cousin Dan, who is still in the production side of things. He's owns a company called Print Geek, which is the largest POD company in Canada. And then we brought on Nick's brother Dave, who's the CTO at PrinSimple. And like even with the four of us, like it was tough. It seemed like just you can never get done when you need to, and like hard to hit your goals. So I could just imagine how hard it'd be to grow a business like that by yourself. It's just so tough. And even today with RB Digital, I have, two partners, Jeff, our CFO in Montreal, and Kevin in Vancouver as our president. And I could not see myself running this business with either of them. It's so hard. So I'm a firm believer of finding that partner, which I think is the hardest part, is finding that right partner, because a lot of people find wrong partners for wrong reasons. They just hire a buddy of theirs, or they partner with a buddy who doesn't bring anything to the business. But, having the mindset of saying like, hey, like I'm not going to be greedy. I'm going to give up half my business and partner with this guy, and we're going to quadruple the business or grow 3 times as fast than if I did it by myself. So I totally hear you on that.
If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with people. And I've been living by that. Sorry, my lead screen printer. I sign off for print still, so I'm still up in that position right now.
That's fine.
Sad, like when prints come through and stuff like that. But yeah, I think a lot of coming from like a small screen printing shop that I own, it's just like we wear too many hats. And the most successful screen printers that I'm looking at, bro, they're the best delegators in the business. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of us have that control of quality in our grasp, and the more that we hold on to it, the more that we can't grow further or farther. But that's when I noticed my business really growing, is when I was like, okay, you can do this, you can do that, and I'll just focus on social media, and we all have our own little roles. Now we're just like a little wolf pack building up one massive idea together. Yeah, too many hats, man. Too many hats in this screen printing industry will hold you back so much.
Talking about blowing up, I saw your Instagram recently, and it's really blowing up like in the last year or so. What's your secret sauce? How have you guys been handling that growth?
What I always like to say the secret sauce is buy an iPhone 15 Pro, that's and then download CapCut. But that's not all the sauce. But that's where you want to start, because any iPhone before the iPhone 15 Pro, I feel like the quality's decent. It's cool. And like Gary Vee says, the cameras in our pocket right now are better than what Hollywood used in the 80s and 90s, because that's the truth.
100%.
And I think a lot of screen printers are too much in the business as well. I know that's kind of hard to say when you're running a business and you have to get out of it. But the transition where I hired a lead screen printer and I can film videos of the process is when the page skyrocketed. Because right before that moment, there's one video that if you scroll back, because we only have made like 215 posts, so we don't really post all too much compared to like an everyday standard. But there's one little time era where I was just like, that's when I was just filming and stuff like that, and somebody else was doing the production. So get off the press, man. You gotta trust somebody on the press, and if you can't do that, then you're gonna always be stuck behind that But if you look at the videos before that, they're ass. They're ass, bro, because I was on press. You know what I'm saying? So you can scroll back. But the secret sauce is showing people, showing clients or showing your customers what they actually want to see. Who is your customer? Because a lot of people don't even know who their cohorts are and the people that they're trying to target. For us, for instance, we're trying to target streetwear people, so they want to see streetwear style prints. And a lot of us as screen printers, we're just posting just to post. There's no marketing, there's no thought process behind the actual post. Therefore, I'm like, okay, cool. This is kind of trending right now. This brand's popping and they're doing prints like that. Maybe if we do videos like that, showing off prints like that, and then people are like, damn, I want to be like that big brand. Therefore, this
Nope.
print shop prints like that big brand. Therefore, I'm going to that print shop. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I use your videos sometimes. Like when a customer calls me now and he's like, yo, how do I print puff? I'm like, here's the technical data sheet and then watch this video I post on Instagram, right? And you just go through
Yeah.
it, right? And I think that anyone that's following you, you're always going to learn cool stuff. Like you do, you know,
Yeah.
I've seen you print over seams and massive prints and down to edges, stuff that like no one really does. And I think you do a really good job of like, all right, watch, like you said, 1 minute, watch me for a minute, and you have a good idea of what to do, because everyone just prints a lot of the run off the mill crap, right? And everyone wants to get into special effects, but they don't know how to do it, and they don't have the support from like a dealer to walk them through, or they don't have the experience of working in a print shop that's done it, so they kind of just limit themselves, right? But
100%,
I mean, I love your
100%.
content. I repost a lot of it, and then my clients hit me up after like, yo, I shouldn't say this because Alex is gonna ask me for a commission, but they'll be like, yo, I need some of that puff, or you know, whatever it is that was in the video. Then they're asking me for it, right?
Nice. Maybe I should
Yeah,
get a little discount code started up on this.
that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. We'll definitely hook that up because we do have an affiliate program running, so for sure.
I'm just kidding. But yeah,
Cool.
for sure. I just think showing people what you're capable of. You know, sometimes we're stretching the boundaries over than what we can actually produce for clients. You know what I'm saying? Like we want to do AOP, which was super big in the 80s and 90s, which means all over print. But
Yep.
low key, that process is a bitch and a half to do. And we're not
Yeah.
going to just do it for anybody. You know what I'm saying? But showing
Yeah.
people like we're that creative, we have that intellect to like, you know, expand the limits to really bring your idea to life. People want that because not everybody's order for streetwear needs to be crazy like that. But if you got, just an oversized print, something basic, we'll run that all day. But back to what you were
Yeah.
saying also, contract screen printing. Street Warehouse was built off contract screen printing. A lot of people don't know that. But with my first previous shop that I owned, dude, that's all we did was contract work. But the thing is with contract work, it's not dope. You can't upload it because your vendor doesn't want to,
Yeah.
share where
exactly.
it's being made. So it's a double whammy. You can't do
Yep.
nothing with this crap that you're making money with. But with retail orders, you can document it. It looks sick and it just comes back to you. You know what I'm saying? And once I got past that hump of, getting retail is a whole lot harder than promo vendors because as long as you can bust out a clean print for a contract worker or a contract promo vendor, you're pretty much in the game. There's
Yep.
enough
Yeah.
to go around for everybody. But the thing is,
Yeah.
like, when you weigh it out too, bro, you can print 100 t-shirts for retail versus printing 1,000 shirts on contract. It's the same pay, but way less work. Which one would you
Yeah.
rather do?
For sure. I mean, that was my mindset when I got into DTG. Guys were like, yo, how are you, like big print shops that would outsource to me? They're like, you got 30 brothers and 4 corneets. Like, where are you guys making money? Because you guys could only pump, in the slow time of the year, we do, 2, 3, 4,000, peak season 16,000. They're like, oh, I could blow this on my auto. And, I could do that in half a day with like one staff. And we're like, yeah, well, how much you making on it? You know what I mean? Like we're selling shirts direct for like 26 US, and our contract, I call contract, we're selling it for 13 US. So yeah, totally. And even now I tell customers, I have some guys, I know they've taken contracts for 250,000 pieces, and got paid 25 cents Canadian. And this is like 3 years ago. I remember this one incident. 25 cents Canadian is like 20 cents USD. It's like, do you just like watching your presses spin and make no money and deal with headaches? Because that's all you're getting out of that, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah,
so that's
yeah.
one thing. And the other thing is like your client retention. The stuff you do, once you get a customer, where are they going to go to get that done? You know what I mean? No one's going to be like, yeah, I'll do this crazy shit for you, because they're not used to it. They're not set up for that, right? They're just used to like flying through one color, two color hits, quality's trash, prints are sideways, like doesn't even matter. So you get a customer in your niche and like you got them. They're not going anywhere, right?
Yeah, my old boss, he was talking that he was doing like 100,000 hoodies recently, and he's like, we don't print anything less than $1. I don't care how many units you got, unless I'm making $1 every time that thing spins around, I ain't doing it. And I've heard of these print shops doing it for 50 cents. It just sounds taxing on the employees too. Oh my God, I couldn't imagine running fucking 3,000 prints every day, walking in and like loving my life, But it give our employees something artistic, creative to print and be proud of it. Then, dude, they'll come back every single time.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, to sell print for contract, anyone can do that. You just got to be cheap. You got to be fast, Whereas I think what you do, you have to be able to sell yourself. You're dealing with streetwear brands. You got to be that guy that they can relate to, that they like. You know what I mean? That's a big part of it. It's not just your quality. It's like, yo, I can vibe with this guy. You know what I mean? Like we're like the same type of person. So even if someone wants to get into wants to get into streetwear brands, if you're not in that mold, you're not going to get that, right?
100%.
I think that's another big thing.
There's a lot of clients that come to us and they say, I just can't send it to the shop down my local shop. They live out in LA, they live in New York, they live in Florida, because their local printer is a 50-year-old man who doesn't give a shit about the culture. And so that's why they're hitting us up. They're like, you get the vision, bro. And I'm like, yeah, bro, I know what's trending. I know exactly what you want. To them, it's just another order. And you're gonna be real pissed when it isn't coming out correct,
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I mean, you remind me of, like, in terms of your target audience, you remind me a lot of a good friend of mine, Jesse from Avid Apparel. That he only works with like YouTube celebrities and brands. And like this guy blew up. I mean, he started when I did, but I think he only started printing like around the time that the Raptors won, which was, Sean, how long ago was that? Like, I don't know, 5 years ago, maybe 5.5.
Yeah, 5.5 years ago.
So, he, since that time, because he's printing the high margin stuff, he's like scaled like crazy. Like he started with embroidery with me and he dipped his toe in and he bought 2 12 heads, 6 8 heads in a single Tajima, and I think he's running like 6 autos now. I sold him a bunch of gauntlets. We just installed a Cobra there last week, actually, eye image, and now he's in with Mamaki DTF, and like he's got the money to invest in good equipment, which is going to keep pushing his business. Whereas other guys, they've been printing for 30 years and they're still printing on like a beat up gauntlet from 25 years ago because they don't have the money to like invest, right? They're just chasing their tails.
I don't know. I spit out a whole bunch of quotes I've been hearing lately, but the brand that has $200,000 is always going to beat the brand that has $2,000. You know what I'm saying? If you got the money, you got the capital, invest into your automation. I cannot express that enough. And that's what we've been doing every 6 months here at Street Warehouse. If it's, the Doubtwit CTS, LED exposure unit, gas conveyor dryer, all these pieces makes my life easier and gives me less anxiety. You know what I'm saying? Because all those beginning autos and everything like that, or beginning pieces of equipment, bro, you gotta spend so much extra time dialing in all this shit, making sure that shit's cured. Oh my God, that shit adds up. And I'm just trying to live a stress-free life because this business is already stressful.
Yeah, I hear you. And speaking on clients, I mean, again, I follow you like pretty religiously. I've seen that you started working with like some, big celebrities. I think the last one I saw was like Shaq, and I think he even took you to like I think he was DJing or something or an event, and you were out there, and it's just like it's crazy. Like, how are you landing some of these like celebrities? Or have there been any other big ones that you've worked with? Like, how do you get into that space? Because I bet you if 100 guys have the mindset of like, yo, I want to print with Shaq, you're not going to land that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not easy to pick up a customer like that.
Make videos because you don't know who. No, you literally just have to make videos and know what you're talking about. That's it. I think people overthink it as well, because I was just on Instagram one night. I was like, oh, he followed us. Cool. Is this actually legit? And then he DM'd us and he's like, yo, I want some shirts. But like, there's multiple people like that we're getting in front of that I would never have any idea that I'm in front of. And there's probably multiple people I don't even know that I'm in front of and they're watching me. But the thing is
That's
just making the
insane.
videos because the IG content, bro, the content, there's no better time than to be making videos on Instagram and TikTok right now, even though I'm not making it on TikTok as much as I am on Instagram because that's our biggest platform. But dude, it's literally free, distribution, and all these random people are able to see it. And so I don't know, like that's the biggest problem in screen printing right now. It's like just make the content. If you want to
Yeah,
land these people,
and volume. I mean, Sean, you have an interesting strategy when it comes to creating videos. I mean, you could touch on it a bit, but I know you have that,
Yeah.
your guy that comes in once a month and you just pumping volume. You want to just touch on that? Because that's something that's been really working for you as well.
Yeah, so we stopped doing the everyday content about 4 months ago because we like the business model switch, right? But almost a year ago, we hired a filmer that would come in once a month, and I would do 120 shorts, right? So he would have English,
In a day.
French in a day. So
Yeah.
English,
wow,
French, and both sides of the business, car wrap as well as apparel. So we'd have one video per day coming out, and we had like a few videos hit 1 million views, and like they went viral, and we were getting
so
roughly 5 to 7 million views a month on TikTok, and it was just to shoot people to our online website. The reason why we wanted to do that is to get as much online sales as possible to see if we could dip our toes into print on demand, right? Like, what's the volume of one-off orders just coming into your website? So once that was the solution, and now we built the software for like PrinSimple, adapting it to us, getting like dialed in, that's when we launched Print on Demand. And now we stopped making those kind of videos. We switched back to making more like brand awareness videos where it's nice. Like, it looks cool, right? It's more like there's no people talking. It's really just a nice B-roll shot video of the shop so that large brands or people that want to work with us as large POD clients, they go in and they're like, oh, wow, this company is really professional. It looks good, but it doesn't catch the same eye. Like, we were getting 5 to 7 million people when we were doing the short form content where it was me talking in front of the camera. And now we're roughly getting 500,000 views. So it's a lot less, but it's more dialed into, there's a lot less clients that we want to attract. It's more like those big fishes that come and see. We want to impress them with a really high quality video. So now I have a full-time filmmaker in the shop, and all he's doing is going back in the shop and just filming B-roll content and
yeah,
educational videos that we can put up on our website to help us rank our SEOs and things like that. So our content strategy switched and changed, but now with PrinSimple opening up the floodgates and being able to connect like live, the sign up form is going to be ready in a few weeks. We're going to open up back up the social media for like short form. But
that's cool. I'm glad you hit on that topic because I feel like with our social media, if we made really clean, polished content, people wouldn't watch our stuff as much.
no,
However, when we're doing green screen videos and just filming it straight up on our iPhone, there's something natural about that where somebody can be like, "Ooh, I can do that same exact thing."
yep,
Therefore, they're more likely to engage. Because I've posted some really polished content. I was like, banger, banger, but
yep.
like it just doesn't do the same. I don't know why. They want
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
natural aspect of all of this, you know?
Well, first of all, people want to see somebody talking, right? They want to have like right away when somebody's talking, they're not going to scroll. They're going to try to listen. Look at Gary Vee. Look at all the big guys, Harmozy, or like people that are just running podcasts just to talk, right, and sit down.
Yeah.
Like all the short clip when you're going to stroll and stop is when people's talking. So if it's an educational video, it's either it's going to be super interesting. So like people that washes the windows, on TikTok, like he's washing the glass and like I'm going to get 1 million views on this video and doesn't say anything, but it's just satisfying, right? It's either it's going to be satisfying, it's going to be educational, or it's going to be funny. That's how people are stopping and watching the video. So I think you hit the nail on the market because you know your niche so well that you're actually educating the industry, but you're also educating your clients very well. And one of your biggest traits is being able to verbalize that, right? There's a lot of people, they're just like you. They love screen printing. They love the industry, but they don't know how to speak through a camera, through a lens, right?
Yeah,
So
100%. And to kind of go off that as well, it's just like I didn't just become good at this, or I'm not just naturally gifted like this. I've made thousands of videos on my brand's TikTok before I ever realized how to make a decent video for screen
Yep.
printing. And so I've been through the trenches. I've done the homework. I've done the research and stuff like that. It's like, because a lot of people think, oh, I don't know how to make this. This isn't my talent. It's just like, no, you ain't hitting the gym. You know what I'm saying? You haven't hit the
Yeah,
gym. You haven't made 1,000 effing videos. Yeah.
Amen.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean
Yep.
that's a big thing to definitely scale your client base. I mean, Sean, you had a really cool promo that you ran once. I forget what it was,
Yeah.
but that was like a huge moneymaker for you. It was like the free T-shirt or something, or dollar
Yeah.
T-shirt.
So it was $1 t-shirt. You could come pick it up for free, or you could have it shipped for $10. So it was like pretty much $11 for a custom tee, right? So we ordered like 15,000 white t-shirts that we had in stock, and they were all DTG printed, but they were really nice next level apparel suede shirts, which cost us a shit ton of money, right? But the goal was just to get reviews. So we would print on these really high-end next level suede shirt, and we DTG, which is super soft, and we'd ship it the same day. So the person would order before 3 and get it next day delivered UPS or FedEx. And in the card, we would give them a thank you card saying, hey, if you leave us a review, we're going to give you $20 on your next order. So our cost of acquisition was like $45, but we would get a 5-star review as well as a reorder within the next 30 days. So that was like
Wow.
our
So it's
biggest
all
money
come back.
maker. And it was a super easy video to make. It was like, hey, I don't know why we're doing this, but we decided to offer like $1 t-shirt. Go online and just order. Or if you don't want to pay for shipping, come and pick it up. And people jumped on that video. Like it got millions of views.
Did people actually come to your shop and pick it up?
There's a lot of people that drove to our shop that live like an hour away. I was baffled.
Well,
Oh
the
my
cool thing
gosh.
is that then they actually
Yeah.
get to see your facility in person. You get
Exactly.
to like touch base with them. You get to become, buddy, and that goes a long way. You know what I mean?
And the emails that we acquired.
Oh yeah,
So
for
many-
sure.
Yeah.
It's
Back it
just
up.
like, so you pay, it's like $45 for a cost of acquisition, but your LTV per client, if you understand it and you study it and you know like your LTV is like $750 and your churn is like 70%, then you're keeping 70% of your clients that are coming into your door, and you're going to get $750 profit at the end of the year for every client that comes in. So
Yeah.
it was easy math for us to do it, and the cost of acquisition was like super low for the LTV. But that was based on our business, right? Everybody's business is different.
That reminds me, I was on TikTok, and one of the first viral like promo deals I made, because I was running a clothing brand TikTok, but I was also mixing in screen printing, which is kind of a big red flag because people were hitting up my clothing brand just to get screen
Yeah.
printing. So I recommend not ever to mix those two. But I did a deal 50 for 250. This was in 2020. And I was I'm not trying to like hype myself up, but like I was one of the first ones to release a deal like that. And
Yep.
bro, there was a whole generation of screen printers, I think right after that were doing the same deal as me. Cause I like broke it down and be like, you get 50 shirts for 250. They're $5 each. If you sell them for 25, you make $1,000 and you can place your reorder. Like I had this whole script going on, bro. I was really
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
that shit. And I was getting like 15 to 20 actual orders a day because I was doing that contract
Wow.
at my old shop, and
Yep.
then I fired all my contract relationships because I was doing this TikTok deal, which is dumb as hell. I should have just got more
Yeah.
employees and scaled, but
Yep.
here I am thinking, pride before the downfall. So I got prideful, did all that, and then I don't know, I just seen a whole era of people doing 50 for 350, 50 for this, 50 for that, blah blah blah. But the thing is, with that type of deal, you're pushing out quality that you're not really that proud of. You have to use cheap ass Gildan's all style t-shirts, whatever at the time with the one color screen print. The shirts aren't insanely dope. However, I've kind of revamped it right now, and I'm just super focused on pushing out the quality. We're doing 25 for 350 for on LA
Nice.
apparel blanks with the oversized screen print, something that somebody will be actually proud of and will wear more than twice.
That's insane. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
know.
touching on blank brands, I mean, obviously we know like Gildan's run off the mill promo stuff. You mentioned that you do LA apparel. What are some other really big brands, and what kind of trends are you seeing? I mean, obviously in your industry, it's gonna be like the boxy, drop shoulder, loose fit kind of thing, right? Are you and if you look back 2-3 years ago, those garments were like impossible to get. You know what I mean? And if they did, they were crazy expensive. I feel like it's starting to make its more way into some of the mainstream guys. I'm not talking like Gildan, but I know there's like Shockaware and that kind of stuff that's done a good job. what are some of your favorite brands, and what kind of trends are you seeing? And have you ever thought about like what I'm trying to do is so unique and I have to import it myself? Like, is that something that's crossed your mind?
Yeah, for sure. I've watched the In Kitchen podcast of Doug Charney at ISS Long Beach in
Yep.
2022. That's how much of a nerd I am about these t-shirt blanks and shit. But he, as much as people don't like this guy for whatever reasons they have, and I'm sure some of them are true, but that dude is an innovator in the streetwear space because he looked at vintage garments and said, while he's in LA, he's probably noticing all these kids buying vintage garments, and he's like, whoa, this is what the kids want. They want something not so standardized. They want the longer shoulders. They want the garment dyed. They want the thick collar. Let's make a shirt like it was already old, but it's brand new. And
Yep.
whenever that was a thing, like whenever that popped off, like every streetwear brand wants LA apparel. And so I'm a big fan of LA apparel, but there are some other competitors in the space that I really kind of look up to, like AS Color, somewhat Shock Aware. There's a couple low-key brands that have my attention, but they haven't really fully built out their business yet, like Inicio Blanks.
Yep.
I have my
Right.
eyes on because I think the 2016 streetwear is different than what it is right now. In 2016, you can print on an all style 1301 t-shirt, sell it for 25 or 30 bucks still, and your customer isn't really going to care too much about the quality. Nowadays, you have to buy LA Apparel Shockwear t-shirts at, $7, $8 a blank with a $10 screen print. So you're already up to $18 for your t-shirt. You got to sell them for 40 bucks. People are much
Yep.
rather do that now than buy a t-shirt for 25 bucks and then think it's just ass. You know what I'm saying? So the market is definitely it's inflation really what it is, but
Yep.
people want quality products over than cheap products for sure.
For sure. And I think like what you said about Doug, like he was an innovator in the industry, but he saw like the market shifting, right? And I think being able to be one of the first in the market where it's shifting, kind of like you guys with the social media and what you're doing, people after follow, right? So you're going to see a lot more people now. And I've seen a few on TikTok that I don't know if they're trying to copy you or whatnot, but they're trying to do something that's similar in their niche, right? It's not always streetwear, but some people are like, hell, here's what we do. We're just like screen printing. And it's like more towards collegiate stuff. So it's really like bold letters with like collegiate stuff. But I think like Doug, who was an innovator, you're also an innovator in that industry. So it's cool to see you grow and take advantage of that space.
I've even seen, the infamous Alex finger shake. I've seen that getting knocked off. Where did that come from? And I see now even like it's like every video, right? It's like your signature. And I even see like your staff when they're making videos. Is that part of getting hired? You got to be able to do the Alex finger
funny.
shake?
Hell yeah, you have to do the Alex finger shake. That thing, honestly, I thought that's just how you make green screen videos, but people were just like dogging on me. They're like, bro, stop shaking your hand. I'm just like, damn, I just thought this was just how you did it. And then it became a thing and people were like trolling us in the comments, but people are like expecting it on every video. So I'm like, okay, it's bringing engagement. It might not be the best engagement, but it's also driving the algorithm for more views. So I'm just like, fuck it, why don't I just keep on doing it and become my
I'm going to
thing?
keep shaking.
Yeah, I mean, some people say like, I don't know, it's like I can barely watch the video because you're shaking your hand too much. But I'm just like, I don't know,
Still
I can
watched
watch
it.
the video. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can watch the video. It's great to me. But yeah, it just became like kind of a goofy trend here, and so everybody does it. Yeah,
That's funny.
you gotta be quirky in some little way in your videos. You gotta have your sign off.
Totally.
100%.
Yep.
So what's next? What's the goal for the business? Where do you see you guys in 5 years?
So we're about a year and a half into Street Warehouse right now, and we're doing great, honestly. We're building out this, crazy print shop, a wolf pack. Literally all of our employees here, we're literally like a team of wolves. We're always dedicated. Band of brothers, what I like to call us. But in about, I don't know, a year and a half left of this space, we want to eventually buy a building and then go down that whole route because I've learned a lot through my old boss. I worked at the contract printing shop that I used to work at. And he told me, he's like, if you're ever trying to sell, you better own a building because a lot of people don't want to buy you out unless you have the assets like that. And therefore, I don't know. I see a whole bunch of different possibilities that we can do. Two main things is building up a media content team and really diving deep into YouTube and doing crazy projects like that, but also expanding our limits and selling blanks and becoming a wholesaler. Like I don't want to make my own blanks, but I think people trust us enough that we can sell other people's blanks and tapping into that market,
Totally.
Because you see people like
Smart.
Jiffy Shirts, they must have some API connected to freaking SNS and Alpha. All they're
That's what
doing
they
is
have.
selling the same crap, you know? Is it coming from the
Yeah,
same place? Is it? I don't know.
it is, man. I mean,
Yeah, it
you know,
is.
PrinSimple, we have the ability to do that in the technology. You know, you order all your garments from one platform and it automatically pulls in all of the, inventory levels and all that kind of stuff. You know, funny enough, we used to have PrinSimple apparel, which was basically we were selling pre-treated shirts. I'm sure you know DTG, you have to pre-treat the shirt. So we were
Yep,
selling
yep, I've heard
garments.
stuff like this.
Yeah, we were selling garments that came fully pre-treated, and we had a facility up here in Mississauga. I mean, that business took a beat. It did really well for a bit, but then took a beating once DTF came in and just like squashed it. But yeah, we would resell those blanks and also other blanks, like just you know standard blanks. So we'd pull in all the inventory from all the different vendors. People would go on there. We'd have our markup. We had the buying power, and you're making money on the blank as well. So that's definitely not that challenging to do, and something that I'm sure PrinSimple can guide you in.
I
But yeah,
think
there's a huge business model in that, especially when you're selling like the Gildans, like what are you gonna make, 20, 30 cents? There's not that much in it. But when you start selling more of like the higher price point stuff, hey, you could be making a couple bucks a shirt. And Alex, if it's gonna get to the point where like, holy shit, dude, we're doing like $3-4 million a year and just reselling blanks, it's gonna be that much easier for you to be like, yo, you know what? I am gonna import, this one style in 4 colors that's a high runner, and I'm gonna bring in the garment for $3 and I'm gonna sell it for
Yep.
8. Have those massive margins. So that's a different model that you might eventually just fall into once you have enough engagement, enough volume, pumping through your website.
that's a goal. You'd be surprised on how many, starting brands are still ordering 48, 100 pieces through these third-party sites and literally getting taxed on these garments. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, that's the market right there. Unfortunately, but fortunately,
Yeah, I
No,
mean, look, it's easy because it's like, look at the average screen printer, like we were talking earlier about guys printing for 50 cents. So like, what are they making on a garment? Pennies. Whereas like now you can make dollars off a blank and not even touch it. I mean, that's like easy
right?
money. And if you're focusing as hard as you are in marketing your brand and getting it out there I mean, dude, if you set up a website in a month from now with all the major suppliers that you buy from, that you have relationships with, and be like, yo, I'm going to blow you guys up even more than you already are on my platform because everyone comes to me because I have the engagement and I'm like the streetwear god of screen printing. They're going to give you some, good margins to make, right? And it's a clean business. It's
Yep.
just money in the bank. So that's an easy way for you to pay off that building, which I also agree. I tell shops all the time. I know guys that literally scraped by for 10 or 20 years doing contract printing, but they bought the building and then they go sell the building and they're getting, one guy, he sold for 8 million and he bought it for 3. You know what I mean? It's like massive. And like, that's his retirement. Listen, a lot of screen printers, they're not into or don't have the time to dedicate to stocks and, investing and all that kind of stuff. Buying a commercial property is kind of simple, stupid. You're already paying rent anyways. You just got to come up with a down payment and then just, pay the mortgage on time, like
Yep.
that's really what it is, right?
Let me ask you this, Zach. Let's go off this topic right now. For print shops that, since you sell brand new equipment, when do you recommend shops to, pull the trigger on brand new equipment? Because I hear a lot of really bad stories of shops growing too quickly and then they go under because they bought all these, 2 new presses plus the dryer plus the everything. So where do you
Yeah.
kind of recommend people to, because you
Yeah.
have to fill out your customers.
Yeah. So look, at the end of the day, there's certain types of equipment like digital, like buying a used DTG, DTF, wide format machine. That's always bad news.
Yeah.
I had a client not too long ago. They bought a Brother GTX at auction for 14,000 Canadian, brand used 28. So he gets this machine and it's shot. New heads, new maintenance station. He's in for another 12. So 26. He could have bought a new one for an extra $2,000. You know what I mean? And now he's got no warranty.
Oh,
So every time
God.
there's a problem, he's paying out of pocket. So something like that, digital right away. When it comes to screen printing, I mean, look, I would say easily 50 to 70% of my customers, they buy new off the bat, right? They don't want the headaches. I mean, I've seen guys that buy used autos, for 30 or 40 or half the price, but like it never prints right, like there's something wrong with it where they can never get the alignment, which might be why the guy's selling it off to begin with. He's got a press that's just taking a beating. So I think you got to be you have to be confident, not in the business you currently have, but in the business in yourself. You have to be confident in
Yeah.
yourself. And you got to look at those payments before you buy it and be like, can I comfortably afford this? Am I going to be under so much strain and so much pressure that I'm not going to make the payments? And another thing, Alex, that I tell people all the time, cash is king. Like, you want to buy a building, right?
Yeah.
And you need cash for that. So a lot of customers, and I used to do this, I have a business mentor. His name is Mark Bachoon. He's, wildly successful. And I would buy, DTG machines from RB Digital that are brothers, 30 grand at a pop. I buy 6 at a time. There's 180 grand. And then I landed Redbubble, and we had to come up with, I don't know, like $1.5 million, and we had no business credit, right? So I tell people, like, when you get into business, doesn't even if it's a heat press, just finance something. Start building your business credit. It's so important, because if you are successful, you're going to get to a point where you need cash. I mean, Sean, you're a big believer of financing. You finance a lot of your stuff. And that was the biggest mistake I made. And the biggest companies I deal with, guys I know that have millions of dollars in the bank, they finance it. Yeah, you're paying 10% interest. Okay, but it's tax deductible. You don't have that strain. Like, if you're going to go, I just did a quote for someone. It was 85,000 US. The payments were $1,300, okay, a month. For you to come up with 85 grand, like, that's a chunk. And now you've drained the money in the bank. Whereas $1,300,
Yep.
hey, that's a lot easier, But people have this mindset. It's like, oh, I'm buying it for 85, but it's going to cost me an extra 20,000 at the end of the 6 years. It's like, dude, who cares? If you take that money that you were going to spend, that 85 grand, and you put it into an investment with even if you're not good at investing, a financial advisor over 6 years with compounding interest and all that, if you're not making 10%, fire that guy. So that's why the successful companies, they don't buy, they finance everything. It's a different mindset.
It is. It is. I come from the full payment mindset, and my business partner, Tyler, he says, let's leverage the time we have. We don't need to pay it off immediately.
Totally.
And that is honestly why we're building so rapidly, is because we're just not in the hole so much,
Yeah. And
I don't know.
the guys that I see that crash, honestly, is because they didn't leave enough money in the bank, right? Again, you try and save that 10%, so you're just buying everything in cash, and you need to have a healthy buffer. Like, anytime you buy something, you got to be like, yo, if another pandemic happens, and like this one, a lot of guys, they caked on with COVID-19, but if something happens, the market takes a hit and I'm screwed. Like, I need to have enough money in the bank to carry me for 6 or 9 months. You know what I mean? And a lot of these guys, they're buying equipment all in cash, and they're like month to month. And then that becomes a stressor. And then it starts to affect you mentally. And when you're not in a good mental place, you're not, like, things just don't click. You know what I mean? You're not closing deals. You're not out there. You're not aggressive because you're just stressing all the time. Like, stress is the biggest thing to kill you in a business, right?
100%. And that's great that you said that, because I was talking to my old boss, and we're not trying to be the biggest print shop. You see these print shops that have 10, 15, 20 autos, like some massive operations. And as I'm like meeting these different print shop owners from St. Louis local, they said the sweet spot is 3 to 4 autos. And
Yes.
they were making the most money, and they actually enjoyed the job. And that's where I'm like, dude, I don't need anything more. Let's draw the boundaries, because the more presses, the more employees, the more problems, the more headaches. I don't want that shit. I want a solid team of 10 to 15 people that I can rely on. And dude, we're just cranking out the best work.
100%. I mean, when I started the business in the garage, okay, I actually started in my bedroom. I bought a Brother DTG, a Viper pre-treatment, and a heat press. I had a Stahls Hottronics heat press. And, I moved up quick, man. Within 2 months, I was in my garage, right? And in that garage, once I moved to the garage, in the first 12 months, we did $1 million in sales with no freaking overhead, zero. We were the second shop selling T-shirts on Etsy, and we were caking it. And we took out a lot of money, right? It was profit. Like, what do I have? My hydro bill? You know what I mean? I had nothing.
Yeah.
But then you get greedy. You're like, yo, look how much money I made in a 400 square foot space. Let me go to a 20,000 square foot facility. We went to a 10, and then we took on the other 10 next door. And no bullshit, it took probably, I don't know, 3-4 years to be able to have the amount of profit that I had in my garage. So a lot of customers, when they come to me and they say like, Zach, like I'm starting out, do you have any advice for me? It's like, don't go too big too fast. You get greedy, but then you have insurance, insurance you guys are paying, mass amounts of rent, hydro, all this stuff. So being bigger doesn't mean more, that you're going to be more profitable. And the guys that I see that are paying everything in cash, doing well, I got some clients that pick up, their ink in a McLaren now, literally. And they're not big shops. They're 2 to 3. And the guys that are the big guys, they're struggling to make payments, right? They're always behind. So I do think that finding that sweet spot. Now, the other thing that I think is a killer, when you look at, some of these big guys that went under, like DTG to go, which was, owned by Delta and all that, a lot of these guys that go under is you put all your eggs into one basket. And, that's what was scary with me with Redbubble, for example. They were a huge account of ours, a big part of our volume. And a lot of these guys do this. They buy all this equipment for like one contract, and they don't have enough, little guys to basically carry you. And that's what I liked about my POD, Shirtly business, which was like Printful, is we had like literally thousands of customers. They'd only process 5, 12, 6 shirts a week. But when I lost one, or even if I lost 10%, I wouldn't even know, right? So if you base your whole business on, one promo company or one brand or one marketplace, like you're, cruising for a bruising, I guess they say. I haven't heard that one in a long time, but I don't know why that came to mind. But you're asking for it. You're asking for it,
It goes with platforms too, bro. Like, I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of want all my eggs in one basket right now. We're not on YouTube. We're not doing as much on TikTok right now. If somehow I get hacked on Instagram, I'm sorry, frick. Back from 0 followers tomorrow. Do I think I can build it back up? Sure. But damn, did I just spend a whole year and a half building this up? Yeah, but that's what Gary Vee says, actually. He says that you need to try to be 10 to 20% or spend an extra 10 to 20% every day on these different platforms, because when that shit goes out, and if it does, you're gonna be glad you did, So that's, I think, TikTok, but all these different platforms has a different, way that you need to make content. Like with TikTok, I think green screen videos and talking about stuff behind me, those do a lot better than me just posting my content, the printing process and stuff like that on TikTok. But I don't know. It's all food for thought.
Yeah. No, I think and going back to like what Zach and you guys were saying, like the equipment, I guess it's different for everybody too, depending on who you are. Like when you were talking about the old janked up machines and like people buy those machines and they're not printing straight, like I'm that type of guy that would buy the machine and be like, oh shit, it doesn't work, I'm gonna go and buy new. But my dad, he just buys anything that's used and fix it like it's fucking brand new. It's insane how good he is, but like he's so good with his hands. Like he can renovate a whole building. Like he's always been good at doing that, right? So he's always taken a lot of profit from doing that and pride actually in his life by buying used and fixing it. I'm the total opposite. I'm like, Dad, we're going to buy new, we're going to finance, we're going to have warranty on it. And if we have a problem, we're going to call them, they're going to fix it. But that's two differences, right? And he was super successful. He's always been successful running that way. And he's like, always like having cash in his pockets, being able to take a decision of like, you know what? Now we have a lot of cash. Let's go buy used equipment. I'm going to fix it up and we're going to run it. It's going to make more profit. Yeah. So I'm not saying it's a bad option. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. It's just, it's not my way of doing it. I just prefer having the like luxury of saying, you know what, there's a warranty on this. We got support. We got tech. That's what I prefer, to be honest. But like my dad, man, he's freaking great at doing it, but he's confident about it as well, right? When he's calling about the equipment, he has really, really good questions because he knows how he's going to fix it, right? Maybe he doesn't know how to fix something that's pneumatic. So he's going to be like, oh, does this pump work or whatnot? And if the guy's like, no, he's then, all right, I'm not going to buy that, because he knows what he can fix and what he can't. So I think that if you're savvy enough on that part, great for you and do that, but that's just not my route. I'm rather spend my time somewhere else in the business, to be honest.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say. I have the same, we sell Chinese DTF machines and we sell them in Mackie. Right? And I say, look, do you want fast, cheap, and headaches, or do you want slow and reliable? And I say, if you're going to buy a Chinese DTF machine, you have to be willing to roll up your sleeves and play technician for like 30% of your day. And again, I have shops that have 42 DTF machines now, all Chinese, literally.
That's insane.
Guys fucking crushing it. But he has full-time techs there fixing machines. So to Sean's point, you got to ask yourself, first of all, am I technically strong enough to fix any problems that come at me? And B, do I want to allocate my time to that? Like some shop, I ask him, I say, look, what are you in the business for? Are you in the business for fixing machines? Or are you in the business for selling shirts? Because if you're spending half your day fixing shit all the time, you're not selling, and that's where the money's coming from, right? Yep. And when I put that into perspective, some guys are like, yeah, I can't even fucking install a doorknob. Well, if you can't install a doorknob, don't buy a used auto. You're just asking for it.
Exactly.
Hell no. There was have you ever met the Screen Police guy, Richard Graves?
No.
He's like the OG. Like, he's at all the trade shows. He's like, I think he's like 75, 80 years old. I don't really know how old he is, but dude, he literally goes by the Screen Police because he's been in the game for freaking like 50 years, bro. And I dropped a video with him. He's like, if the press ain't spinning, you're not making any money. And like every small piece of downtime, whether it's like, oh shit, I didn't have the PMS color, God, I don't have one extra garment for this, blah, blah. All those things, like, add up. And then, bro, you're just not making money that way, bro. He's top G. I think he's really tied in with Dowway. He's in that group of older dudes,
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, like, like you can call him at fucking midnight about screen printing. He'll pick up and fucking rant on for 2 hours about your emulsion, bro. Like, he's that guy,
Yeah.
So
awesome.
It's cool.
Just touching on DTF, I mean, I just came back from Printing United. I was in Vegas for 4 days, and like every other booth was selling DTF. I mean, all the guys that were selling screen print stuff, they're either selling DTF or they're not even showing the screen stuff. It's like everything's moving in that direction. Now, I know, looking at a lot of the brands, they say, hey, it's not for me. DTF is, not my jam. I like ink, and that's what my clients want. What's your take on DTF? I mean, anyone that's doing promo, for sure, no brainer. You got to get that in there. If you're doing POD, you got to get that in there. But I feel like some of the, streetwear guys or guys that print for brands, slowly they're introducing it. But, what's your take on it?
I think in the promo space, it definitely has its place. For streetwear, I barely ever see it. I think I see it maybe on hats, on foam trucker hats every once in a while. But the quality for shirts are just not there. I don't know. There's something, I don't know. I'm almost interested in like messed up prints than I am. That sounds crazy coming from me, but like the kids, when they're wearing these vintage t-shirts and stuff, the misregistration, nobody gives a fuck about that anymore, bro.
No.
Like if you own like a very expensive brand like Louis Vuitton, Rude, and all these other top dogs, of course you want the best quality. But nowadays, I think you can own a brand, as poor as it sounds. You want to push out a quality product. Well, if it's off a hair, you should not scrap that shirt, bro.
Yeah.
Nobody's really, like, your client ain't really looking at it. Am I sending out products? Am I aiming for that here at my shop? No, but do I think the end client really cares about that? No, I don't, But DTF, I don't know. I just don't see it that much in the streetwear space. Like, maybe I think DTG for samples, because a lot of brands go pre-made or pre-order. Yes, build up your hype with your sample. You can Photoshop it, make it look like it's not an actual DTF on this whatever, because it will save you cost. And then sell your 50 to 100 pieces with screen printing. That way you actually are, getting the quality of that. But nah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of DTF right now.
It's so true when you talk about streetwear brands and vintage and like quality. You kind of want it to be crappy. Have you heard of a company called Icywear?
No, I haven't. What is that?
We are icy. Check him out. He's a new guy, and probably been working. His name's Manic. I actually did a little interview with him. I had posted on RB Digital. All he does is like vintage retro throwback. And I went to his shop and I was like, yo, you got to pump your white underbase in your DTG. Like, you're just not getting the vibrancy. He's like, I don't want the vibrancy. Like, I want it to look like it's been washed a bunch of times. I don't want it to look like a perfect print. I'm achieving exactly what I want, and I'm saving ink, so it's a plus, right? Funny. So yeah, I definitely hear that. I mean, I think Sean's got a different take on DTF.
Well, it just depends the market you want, right? Exactly that. Like you were saying, there's a lot of like leisure wear, athletic wear that people want that DTF because it's so vibrant, it's so bold, it stands out, right? It's on top of the fabric.
If it's a small little hit, like on a sports bra or somebody's athletic shorts, I say DTF all day. That seems way easier. It's way easier to script. I mean, press it on there, then the screen print that material, and then it gets flash dried, and then it fucking wrinkles up, and then you're like, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah,
So
but like
yeah,
the
for
new
something like
the
that.
new DTF, like when you talk about like the Mamaki DTF that we have and things like that, we do a lot of our clients as like funny shirts, right? They go on Etsy, they sell online, just like funny design shirts that they want to have. They want that to be super vibrant, and that's what they didn't like about all the other POD companies they use back in the days, because all the DTG, especially on fleece, right? They're using those crew necks, those hoodies. All their white came out gray because it's not as vibrant on a hoodie. It's hard to print. So now all the DTF is like, oh wow, it's amazing. The prints look really nice. It kind of looks like an H&M print. Like you go in and you have those H&M Mickey Mouse and Uniqlo shirts. Like it looks
Yeah,
vibrant. It stands out. So that's why I think the market, there's a massive space for it. But again, when you look at all the streetwear, it's different. I think there's going to be a combination of both coming soon, because you see oftentimes now those shirts, like those big vintage big shirts, and they have bold letters on top. They're probably going to maybe use a mix of that feel, because a lot of people are getting used to DTF now, and they're coming and asking us, oh, do you have this feel? And they're coming in with shirts that have DTF on it. I'm like, that's funny. Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
trippy.
we
Yeah,
do.
I was at a retail store, and this is the first time I ever came across a shirt where I was like, I don't know what this is. Like, I don't know if this is screen print or DTF, but it's fucking good.
It's
Yeah,
probably
I
hybrid. Yeah.
you think it's hybrid? I mean, bro, I think it was made overseas though, because I think it was like
Yeah.
Prinso. But I
Yep.
was just blown away. I was like, it still looks like screen print, but it's just so freaking smooth. I was like,
So
I don't know.
the rubber ink, that's what they call it. It's water-based acrylic ink, and they
Oh
print the
wow.
bases. They print the bases first, and then they go oftentimes with a hybrid, like a digital squeeze or something like that, and they print a top seal coat, which is kind of like a super smooth finish that makes it matte. It looks insane. So you
Bro,
see that in a lot of stores, retail stores.
yeah,
It looks really,
that's
yeah, it looks really good.
now
But
here's the thing with DTF, because I have people send in their DTF every once in a while. Like we get our hands on transfers. The
yep,
consistency between all these different vendors is crazy. Some have like, the ink feed lines through them on some of them.
yeah.
Sometimes the glue is like glossy on this side and grainy on this side. So
That's why
it's
you got to
very
own your own
weird.
machines.
Okay, I will say we order the most through stalls,
Yep.
heat transfers.
Yeah.
But what type of machines are they running? Come on, boys. What's the secret there?
I know exactly what they're running, but I can't say.
You can't
Yeah.
say.
I can't say it, but I know. They are DTF machines for their
Yeah.
obviously they're DTF transfers, right?
The
But
consistency on those. I mean, that's why we order so much, because I've never had one that was bad quality.
Well, like for us, like we run the five Makis in our shop, right? For all the DTF. The consistency across all our
This,
machines is exactly the same.
this brand Maki you guys talk about a whole lot, man. I was
Well,
kidding.
it's like, to be honest, it's the best solution we have right now for DTF in my mind. If you
Yeah.
want
it's
to
like
have
brother and
your,
DTG. Same thing. It's reliable. It's good.
it's reliable. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Like it's a reliable machine. Your profile can run through CAD Link, so all your machines run exactly the same. It's low maintenance for us, and it just keeps pumping. Like
Dude,
we run
yeah,
these
that's,
machines all day, every day, and the quality's there.
I mean, we be talking to the rock dudes on like presses and stuff like that, and tried and true, or I like her because that's what I just grew up with and everything.
Yep.
Well, I'm wondering in the future if I would make a switch to rock. I don't know. What do you think? What do you sell M&R and rock?
He sells M&R. I own Rocks.
Yeah.
It's.
Yeah. I mean, look,
I think
I think they're
it
both good
depends.
machines.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't think there's
You
I
guys
don't
talk
think
about
there's
this so much.
I don't think there's. We're talking about their traditional automatic presses, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Sportsman
Yeah.
versus a freaking
Yeah.
you.
I mean, look, like I don't think there's a massive difference from one to another. I don't think there's anything you'll be just as successful with both. Like I love the Cobra. It's my favorite press for the price point. I mean, the Gauntlet's an amazing press, but it's expensive. I love the Cobras. I think they're amazing. I just put one at Avid 2 weeks ago, who's run a bunch of Gauntlets and Sportsmans. He likes it. I don't think that there's a major advantage. I think really what it comes down to is like, support, the dealer. I mean, MHM's a great press too, but again, like there's no support, right? Especially not in Canada. So I don't think it's so much, which one's better. Personally, I think that, from what I've seen, the Rocks are more expensive, but I think the Rock, what they do really well is they capture the younger audience. I was at their Ryanet just they had they rented out like the punk rock museum in Vegas, and it's a really cool vibe, right? And I think that's how they get a lot of the customers. Just Ryan is like an incredible marketer. Again, it's a good product. For me personally, if one had a sale over the other one, I would go with the one that's cheaper, because specs are the same. Like one might say it prints 100 units an hour faster, but as you know, those numbers don't mean shit. I mean, it really comes down to who's on the press, how you're setting up the jobs, all that kind of stuff. That's what's important. So for me, it's like, price and more importantly, support. I mean, who's going to be there when your press is down quicker? I think that's what you need to do. And a lot of the guys, I have guys that, that they're rock shops and then M&R shops, and they pick up a rock. And it's just like, it's kind of a pain now, just having, two different types of presses, and I'm comfortable with the rock.
I
want to mix that.
No, I don't really see M&R shops, at least not in Canada, switching over to rock.
I will say it's always awkward when you see those shops that have blue presses. Wait, no, green presses, but a blue dryer. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, but I think Rock will admit that. I mean, they
will. Because I've talked to Rock dudes, and they think it's fun. Like, they not think it's funny, but they've accepted their L on their dryers for quite some time until they fixed it.
Totally.
But I was just like, damn.
Don't tell me about it.
You have a Sahara?
Yeah, we spent $3,500 US this week just to fly a tech in for it to work. But like we had the first generation. I think now they fixed it, but like it's been bad. We never had luck with that oven. It's a lemon.
I mean, the Sprint 3000 is just a beast of a dryer. You know what I mean? Like even guys who are in the digital world who are really big into DTG, they all run Sprint 3000s. I mean, this just they make an amazing dryer. I don't think you can knock it. And look, there's one shop here. It's a smaller shop, but they got 2 locations across Canada. Great clients of ours, really good guys. And I was trying to get them in with the Cobra. There was a bad lead time. They picked up the Rock. They had a Rock at another location too. And they got Sprints at both locations. They just, felt that that was a better dryer. They did their research. They went to the Rock events in the States and with all the Rock guys. And, I guess the Rock guys were like, the M&R is a good dryer. So I'm sure someone will paint them green at some point. I saw once it was our turnabout, but they called it the rock something, rock shaker. I don't know what
Rockabout?
And they just took the M&R because their whole shop was Rockabout. Yeah. So I forget who did it, but their whole shop was green, and they just have this one M&R turnabout, and they just like painted it green and called it the Rockabout. So
I think I've seen a photo of that. I don't know. We're all freaking nerds in this space, bro. Like I literally can chat about screen printing equipment, and that's what's I think correlates with my videos too. Is like, dude, I know what I'm talking about, like with 100%. The inks and with the equipment and shit like that. Because I've done the testing. I went through the trials with the first brand and print shop, and I've ran through all these damn issues. That way I can give out accurate information. Because there's a lot of misinformation. When you're talking about puffing and shit, there's like 40 different ways how you can print puff. Some people add it into their ink. I print it as a base, which is different. A lot of people hit us up. They're like, I didn't know you could print it as a base. And I was like, neither did I until like a couple months ago. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
So DTF, do you see you putting one in your facility anytime soon, or not yet?
No, honestly, not soon. Honestly, I think our biggest goal, since we do so much streetwear orders, like we just ran a couple thousand pieces for a large retailer and like malls and stuff. But when you're at that level, bro, they're asking for 9 to 10 screen prints. So I think our next investment is going to be an 18 color press. And a lot of people will be like, oh, why don't you just go DTF? But that's not what the brands want, bro.
No.
For oversized 17 by 20 graphics, like I need this thing to spin around once with a finished product. If I have to use revolver mode, I am literally shooting myself in the head because I just don't want to deal with the headache.
Hey,
which 18 color are you leaning towards?
Well, here's the thing. My old boss also told me this. If you buy an older press, because you see these Challenger 2s with the, the flip switches and stuff like that. And he's like, if you showed me 2 shirts, one was printed on one with the LCD brand new screen and one was printed with flip switches, would you know, Alex? I was like, damn, like that's facts. Like as long as the machine does its job, it doesn't really matter if you buy an older unit, as long as it was well taken care of. Because we have a Sportsman EXG out there I bought for $35,000. Bro, craziest deal. This is the best God drop ever because I was on the Facebook forums with only 500,000 impressions on it, bro.
Wow.
Mint condition. Not even an ink of lick on any of the heads. And I was like, you just resell it. Like if you go to, Dave McLean and all these other places on Digismith and stuff, like, bro, they're they're $55,000 presses, and I paid only 35.
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy. I'm gonna use this for the next
Yeah.
15 years and sell it for
Yep.
35 or 40. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
100%.
I mean, look, you know, you can get some decent deals, especially, you know, now you got a lot of guys. Like I have shops who've been screen print for 20 years, you know, 2-3 autos, and they literally
Yeah.
dumped all their autos and they went DTF. And I think you're going to start seeing a lot of that. You know, I got clients that are doing, you know, 120 pieces, one color, and they have 5 autos and they have 3 DTFs, and they're DTFing that now, right? And they've just run the numbers and like, it doesn't make sense, you know? You know, I don't want to tie up my press. I want to keep my press for the big runs. I don't want to slow that thing down. You know, by the time you coat the screen, let it, you know, dry overnight and shoot it and rinse it out. And then if it's a multicolor job, register and press. Some shops are really good at, you know, getting prints up and running. Some guys suck. I mean, there's some shops, 6-color job, they're going to spend like an hour and change setting it up. So, you know, if it's only 72 pieces, just DTF that shit. You know what I mean? And to be honest, most customers are not going to know the difference anyways. And like Sean said, some will prefer it. They're like, wow, look at the opacity, no fibrillation. But there's like nothing
that's
coming
true.
through.
Well, what about the heat press time though? I mean,
I
like,
got some
think about
customers
it.
that
Is it
have
double tap, you know?
That's all fixed now. I mean, Sean will tell you what he does at his shop.
Is it only in one time press?
No, so it's we double press and we use a canvas on the second press to actually mimic a screen printing mesh, so you can feel the
That's
fibers. Yeah,
Yeah, I've heard of people laying canvas or t-shirt material on top
yeah,
of their prints, but the thing is like that I feel like you're in it at like a minute and a half on one
no.
shirt.
You
So
know,
what you do?
But he's
what we
running
do,
Stampinators.
yeah, we bought. So
An
actually we have a,
automatic heat
yeah, we
press
have a
machine?
4.8. We have a 4.8 raw Q, and we
Nice.
have 3 stampinators on it, right? So the first guy, he places the shirt, it goes into first station, it preheats the garments to remove all the moisture. The second
Wow.
station, we have a projector projecting the artwork where it needs to go. We just have somebody there placing the artwork. Third station, it goes in heat press. Fourth station, the guy that's placing the artwork peels it. Now, last station, it does the last press, and the guy who's putting the shirt is pulling the shirt. So we're running 450 shirts an hour on 2 guys on press. All
That's pretty
DTF.
badass. That's pretty badass, honestly. I've seen one of those at ISS, the little mini autos. They're pretty small,
Yeah,
right?
so they switched
No,
it.
no,
They
no.
call it
He's
the Impress, but
Alex.
I'm
Hang
using.
on. No, he's not. Alex, he's running his screen print press and using it as a heat press.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. So you have a regular. Okay, cool.
I have
I've
a
seen
regular.
that.
Dude,
Yeah, I have a regular
clients,
auto and just added stampinators on it.
He has a press. He doesn't screen print anymore. He just does DTF on it. I have clients, like I have a client called Hotline. They bought the M&R Copperhead. It's never touched ink. They bought it brand new just to do high-speed DTF transfers.
Wow, that's
It's
pretty
game changer.
gnarly.
Yeah.
What I don't know. Let me think. What other pieces of equipment? I don't know. I've never messed with a Stampinator. I've had some interest in the hothead, but we don't really print like a shit ton of hoodies because I can see the difference in the quality of a hothead on like some hoodies. But what about t-shirts? Like, is the Stampinator?
Dude,
Because Ryan Moore, he showed me
man.
the Stampinator. He showed
The
me it, but
Stampinator's where it's at.
it almost gave me like
Look,
transfer vibes. So that's why I'm like,
But you just
So
do
you
it on the
have to-
underbase. Like Alex, I have, you know, that client Avid Apparel that I was talking to you about, who's only does like streetwear and brands. You know, he put on 2 Stampinators and he freaking loved it, and he just put in 7 more on all his presses. I mean, it's a game changer.
What style prints do you do though? Is it mostly vintage, or you're trying to opaque base? Like, do you
opaque
print through?
base. Like I need
Are you trying-
vibrancy.
You need vibrancy.
Yeah.
What are
I need
your
it to be
underbase mesh?
smooth. 110, 156, standard mesh. I'm not using thin thread right now.
So buy a Stampinator. It's going to change your game. So if you're using
So-
your underbase, yeah, like
Nope.
so you're going
No
to use a
quartz flash,
higher
right?
mesh. You're going to use a higher mesh for your underbase, a 157, 157 or 190, right?
Uh-huh.
Or 203. I think the standard is like 203. Hydro is like 190, so I think it would be like a 203 if I'm not mistaken, or 160. So 160 base or 203 with a Stampinator, you're going to mat down the fibers, and you're actually going to have a more vibrant print than your 110 that's going to lay down a crust. So it's going to be a lot better. And then you can still keep your EOM on your mesh around 17%. So it's still going to deposit a lot of ink, except it's just going to mat it down. It's going to be smooth and finished. It's going to kill the fibers. It's going to be a layer. The layer of ink is going to be thinner because you're using higher mesh, but the vibrancy is going to be there. So you're winning on the soft hand feel, but the vibrancy is still there. And if you still use like your soft hand base because you want something vintage, I would just run it right after everything and cure your shirts. So like off the oven, if you're doing like a left sleeve print or like a back print, and you have a front print right away, it's a one color job, like one color back, one color front, then just hit your Stampinator at the last station and then stack your shirts on your cart and do your front right away, and then you put them in the oven.
Right,
so you don't have to go pick them at the end of the oven. We do that often.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I don't know if I'm that dialed yet, because that sounds pretty damn dialed.
Yeah.
You gotta be planning out your schedule. You gotta be on that shit. I don't know. So with the Stampinator, you don't need any quartz flashes. It is the flash pretty much.
Yeah, you can use that as a flash instead.
Yeah, so what I do, and it actually frees up space on your press. So generally when I sell a press now and they need 2 flashes, I give them 1 Stampinator and 1 quartz flash. That's like standard for me now. You know, they'll put a red LED.
Stampinator on head 2 and then quartz flash around the press.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. And you know what? Especially guys that are new to screen print or even pros, like just doing that is a massive difference in quality. Like instantaneously, you'll be like, holy shit, like how did I not buy this, fucking 5 years ago? It's funny because I only started selling Stampinator maybe 2 years ago, and the reason why is because I thought it was only a rock product. And then I was in Long Beach with Ryan and we were just shooting the shit, and he's like, dude, are you selling these yet? I'm like, no, I can't. Like I sell M&Rs. He's like, they work amazing on M&Rs. I'm like, really? Yeah. And then we brought them on. We've had them at a couple of the screen print, like that screen print class that we did. I think we sold like, I don't know, 18 Stampinators from that one class. Like everyone that saw it's like, holy shit, this is incredible.
It's different. Yeah.
They're about 5K, right?
Yep.
$750 if I recall correctly.
Canadian, but like for him.
No,
like
US. No,
US.
Canadian's like 75.
Yeah,
but Alex, you got your boy over here. He's gonna hook you up with one, all right? I'll get you a steal of a deal.
Man. Hey, I'll shout you in the video. Send it to me. I'll shout you out.
Definitely.
I'm just playing.
So Alex, you're talking about, just mentioned to Sean about like, oh, you must be really dialed in. How do you organize your business? Like everything from the back end to, placing orders, sending out quotes and proofs, handling your accounting. Like, that's one of the biggest challenges I see in shops is that they're not, organized, they're not dialed in, and it takes them forever to get things on press and get quotes done. So what does that look like in your shop?
Yeah, for sure. When we first started, all the information was in our head, and because we were the only 2 people in the business. However, Tyler, who works with processes, he does all the paperwork for the business. He is literally the dude. If he sees an issue with the business, he can literally, find a problem. Solve the problem with an automation or something like that. So Here he is right now. Why don't you tell him about PrinSimple really quick? You want to hop in this? Okay, never mind. I'll tell him about. Sorry, he was walking by. But anyways,
that's fine.
He focuses on all that part of the process, and whether it's updates and statuses and informing the customer where it is in production, PrinSimple is like the go-to for so many shops around right now. But that's the main thing that we kind of focus on, is just those small little updates. I'm trying to think of more about the process right now and how we. What was the question again?
No, it's like how do you run your processes, the proof? So you use PrinSimple for everything, right? Is that like your small CRM that you're using?
Yeah.
So quotes, approvals.
Yeah. So we'll send out a quote. We'll get a 50% deposit. That way we can lock in that customer on our schedule, and then they get a proof, and then they can make any changes that way. And then it'll go into the screens, of course, like that. And then we'll count on our goods. That's the only thing that PrinSimple is really lacking right now, is the count in aspect on the main platform. Because I think there's another app. I don't know if it's Deco or Deco Flow or something like that. You might be familiar with that. But having that all in one, I think they might be beta testing something like that right now. But making sure the client is informed every step of the process, and then with tracking and stuff like that, some pretty basic stuff. I don't know. We're pretty on top of it, but I don't know. We just try to find any small holdbacks or strongholds in our business that are taking up way too much time. I think everything's just found in preparation for what we're trying to do.
And are you using the Power Scheduler for production?
Power Scheduler, since we only have 2 presses, no, we're only using the monthly calendar right now. But have we tapped in? And yeah, we've built out a couple days on the Power Scheduler, but we're not using it every day, to be honest. We're just not. I think when we get to that 3 or 4 autos and we have delegated, press operators and stuff like that, then that could really be in hand. But
how many people do you have?
We have a team of 7.
Okay, yeah. When you get about, I think, 10 or 12, you're probably going to use the power scheduler for a lot of other things at the same time. So probably for like pre-production stuff, for burning screens, mesh, things like that, you're going to be able
Yeah,
to like mix your inks as well as burn your screens at the same time because it creates statuses for each department, right?
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
advantages of the power scheduler. We tried all the softwares out there. That's why I know like
He did
what I'm talking.
Deco, Inksoft,
Yeah,
and Printavo, right?
yeah, we did it all. Like
And
we,
Monday.
yeah, Monday, YoPrint, and like we did a lot of them. So I think the power scheduler is going to be good for you guys when you get into that volume of like 10 to 12 employees, and there's going to be a lot of people in each department, so they
Yeah,
can
yeah.
work simultaneously.
You can
So I
make the
think,
Or
individual task, right?
yeah, exactly, individual
Or we have
tasks.
this new product coming out.
or you spend an hour and a half with Sean and he walks you through PrinSimple and you're like, holy shit, and then you make the switch.
Yeah,
And that's the other option,
Come
the
on,
better
Zach,
one. Oh, I'm telling you, man. Watch Sean. You know, everyone's always a little skeptical. Then Sean spends an hour with them, just walking them through, you know, their business, and like you'll see, you gotta spend some time with them. You guys are buddies now, so you could hit him up.
yeah,
Yeah,
for
you
sure.
guys seem
not
pretty
Anytime.
dialed. You guys seem pretty dialed. I can tell by, your tone and what you guys are really talking about that you actually care. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that
Exactly.
Yeah,
like sell supplies and shit like that, but like, dude, they don't actually care about the product and like the actual process. And that's what I really respect out of people that sell supplies, you know?
yeah. Well, and
100%.
that's the one thing I tell people. It's like partner with a dealer
Yes.
who's gonna be a business consultant for you. You know, like don't just work with a company that's just like I say, a quoter, a guy who's gonna be like, yeah, this is the price, or like I got something cheaper here, buy this. You know, you got to work with someone who's gonna become intimate with your business, know what you got going on, know the product, know what they're talking about, and bring value. It's so important to work with a dealer that brings value. He just did the sign off. Alex did the sign off. Good
Sorry,
to go.
this was a test
Send
print,
it.
bro.
Print.
It's 250 pieces, dude. If I mess this up, I'm like, I just
Yeah,
did
yeah.
it
That's
30
a
seconds. I was like, okay, that's
boom.
good. All right,
Good.
let's do this on.
Yeah. Don't worry. If the registration's off slightly, it adds to the vibe.
How do you? I don't know. I'm gonna start telling my customers that. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That's freaking
Cool.
hilarious.
So Alex, we've talked a couple things. You know, you touched a little bit on marketing and growing your business and scaling and partnerships. And let's talk just some cool, you know, I don't want to say shop hacks, maybe shop hacks, but you know, some things that you've done in your business that have made screen printing like work really, really well, or like, you know, the importance of certain types of equipment and how it's impacted your business. Like what are, you know, a couple pieces of advice, not on the business side of things, more focused on, you know, consumables and equipment or whatever to really help them level up their game.
Well, like I said earlier, we were doing embroidery and we got rid of it because we felt like it was just like too much time being spent on that for only 20% of our results and our income as this business. Tyler and I had to make the decision and kind of eat it on our ego and be like, we're doing less, but we're actually going to be doing more, if that makes sense. So once we got rid of that, we invested the same amount of money into our Dowit CTS system, which we were not using Trilock up to that point. And so our press setup time literally cut in half just by, getting rid of something that was holding us back, investing into that. I think a lot of shops are, you kind of want to do everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You want to do DTF, you want to do embroidery, you want to be the all in-house. If you want to make custom stickers, you got that going on as well. We're not trying to do all that. We're just trying to be good at one solo thing. But I'd say that's like one of the biggest shop hacks is like making those upgrades, This is a startup business as well. I think a lot of people, take out money too early for themselves. And we were way more focused on investing into the equipment and also our team rather than for me and Tyler to reap the profits. Shit, I could be making way more money if I had a team of 2 people and we're grinding out a 1,500 square foot warehouse. But that's not my goal. I gotta see 5 to 10 years down the road and be like, damn, that's when I'll probably see a lot of money coming, But shop hacks is just like cutting down that time, cutting down that time tremendously. Or another quote I've also is like buy cheap, buy twice. Cause we had the air compressor that, was super loud. Everybody hated it in the shop, but it was running, all day long and stuff like that. Once we bought like a nice, peaceful, screw compressor, is that what it is? Is it a screw compressor? Now it's just the day of life, our day of life is just so much more simple and easy. Spend the money, you know what I'm saying? The people that don't spend the money are the people that are kind of pissed off more of the time, you know. But I'm trying to think of some more shop hacks. I feel like I got a lot of information to say, but I'm kind of drawing blank right now.
No, I think that was really good.
I
I
don't
think
know.
a
I
lot.
mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure the direct to screen elevated your game too. I mean, that must have been a game changer. I tell shops all the time, Jesse from Avid, I used to, send people to a shop to go check out the eye image. It doesn't matter, eye image, Delta, Exile, whatever, laser, LTS. But customers would ask him and be like, hey, how many screens per day would you recommend for me to invest before I invest into the eye image? And he's like, dude, 5, doesn't matter, like right away. I mean, if you could afford to
Yeah,
do it.
that was a big
Yep.
jump because I told that way. I was like, bro, at the time we were only making like, you know, 10 screens a day for
Yep.
the next day or something like that. And even at what we're doing right now, it's like 10 to 20 screens a day. I am so thankful that we're not waiting on this film to freaking print. That takes forever. That's like almost
100%.
damn 4 minutes of film with this Dowit,
Yeah.
dude. I swear it's blasting through screens in less than a minute.
Yep.
And I'm just like, it's ready to go. It's already registered and everything like that. Burn it in 20 seconds and you're good to go. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
100%.
You gotta buy for the future. You just can't buy for the future. You know, because we were talking about that earlier. You know, you want
Yeah.
to buy for growth too.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
made a big mistake and we bought a 6/8 press and we realized we're doing all oversized printing over 18 inches tall, but our 6/8 press can only print up to 18 inches. Now we're kind of like, damn, I really wish we bought the 20 by 20 press
Yep.
instead. So we kind of, missed our homework on something like that.
And then you
Customers ask me,
also want to look
I'm
at like technology. Yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead, Zach.
I mean, I'm never someone that likes to upsell a customer. I think it's very important to give customer the equipment that they need. Alex is making a face over there, but it's true.
Come on, Zach. You're trying to upsell me
No,
on
no.
some DTM 5 minutes ago, man.
Trust me, man. Like I have a lot of clients that come in, they're like, yo, I need this. I'm like, you honestly don't. You'd be fine with a 6 color. But that being said, nobody has ever come to me and said, man, I bought a press that's too big. But
Yeah.
30% of deals I do, customers come back 6-9 months later and said, man, I wish I didn't go bigger. So something to keep in mind with screen printing. I mean, you don't know. I mean, some guys, I ask them, I say, look, what's your volume? And they're like, 95% of my jobs is 1, 2, 3 color. Say, okay, grab a 6 and just outsource your big jobs that come in if it's like once in a blue moon, right? But customers, businesses evolve. They'll start just doing promo, then they get into streetwear and they're like, I'm screwed. You know what I mean? Or,
100%.
yeah, it happens all the time. So again, it comes down to, buy some, if you're confident in yourself, go bigger if you can, but don't stretch yourself. You got to make sure you could, make those payments. It's important, and you don't want to have the added stress. So again, it's always finding that balance of, buying the right equipment or big enough presses while still it being very feasible for you to hit your target. Your goal every month should not be, I need to make $3,000 to make my lease payments. If that's
Hell
your
no.
goal, you got problems. Like, you should have never signed that lease. You know what I mean?
Ooh,
So yeah.
ooh.
What happens
Yeah,
when you
I feel
say, "Oh, I gotta make $500,000 this month to pay for the lease and everything," and
Oh,
you
for
just
sure.
gotta sell
Well,
more?
Yeah.
boy, you still got mega problems, my man. No, I just
No, it just means
Yeah.
that hey, hopefully you have a lot of sales that
500,000?
cover. That's your overhead cost, right? But
How big
that
is your
grows with the
operation?
business.
How big is your operation?
No, I was just throwing the number out there. Our overhead is $237,000 a month. That's
I like
our
that.
shop.
I like
But
that
it's
you know that.
like it's grown from $3,000 to that, right? In the last 14 years. But I mean, that goes with our revenue as well. That's why we like, it's for me to say it's okay. And we know our numbers and you know where we're going. But to go back on like the tips, I think for any shop owner, a great tool that's helped us for grow and like scale, it's called Loom. It's a recording app that you download on your desktop or you download on your mobile phone. And all those recordings go directly into their cloud. And it's really lightweight. Like all the video files are all there, right? And they're all
Okay.
related to link, HTML link. So what we did is for every station in our shop, I use QR codes and I assigned it to the link of that video. So every station has an SOP. So if you don't know how, or you're new and somebody thought you last week and it's your second week and you're not sure, you just take your phone, you scan the barcode, and automatically there's going to be video, and it's a Loom video of us, the team, showing you exactly what you need to do in that station.
Damn, that's
So I think
pretty dialed.
Yeah, and it's super cheap. It's easy to do because like everybody has an iPhone 15 Pro, right? That can do CapCut and make videos. So why
Soon to
not
be
use it?
16.
Soon to be
September, baby.
16. No, but like, why not use
You
that
already
same
know.
phone that's making you content, it's making you money to also help your team, right? So everybody has this thing right here. Just use it. And I mean,
Mhm.
for us, having Loom helped us tremendously for the sales team, for customer service team as well, because there's training videos on there. And if they're not sure, they can go back and look at it, right? So it's just something that's there. LO, not paid by them. We just use it a shit ton, and I love it. It's helped us save tremendous amount of time.
Honestly, I do have another
There we
recommendation
go.
tip. Um, graphic source. Do you guys know
Yep.
graphic source?
Yeah,
100%. We had
we
Nick
did a
on here.
whole we did a whole piece on him, and again, it all comes
And
down to, even in embroidery, guys find these cheap digitizers, and then they get like
Yep.
30% more stitches, and the runtime increases by 30-40%, and then you get thread breaks. Again, it's about paying for quality.
yeah, no, we were doing all the proofs in house and stuff like that, and then this is where Tyler really fills in. He's like, "Oh, I see a problem. It's taking up too much time. We need to automate this a little bit more." And so we signed up with Graphic Source, and I had my reservations against graphics. I was like, "Come on, this team out in Honduras doing all this, like, can they really communicate with us?" And it's not the team out in Honduras is the issue. It's your process is an issue because if you're not dialed in at your press
Yep.
shop, of course you're gonna have back end problems with freaking your Honduras team. So Tyler's the one that organized all of it, and dude, that has taken off so much pressure. They're doing proofs, they're editing artworks, they're making the
Hmm.
separations. If we were to hire somebody in, to do that full time, I don't even think they can handle all of the work that we have for them. But Graphic Source was a major game changer. So shout out Nick Wood. I've met Nick
Amen.
Wood a couple times in person. He's Nick Wood.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I've known Nick for a very long time, and yeah, it's the service they offer is great, and it all comes down to, every shop owner tries when they start to do everything themselves, and that's
Yeah.
your
oh God.
biggest limitation to scaling. And everyone's trying to cut corners and cut costs and
Oh
work
my
late
God.
to get it done, and go home and eat dinner, then stay up all night and separate, your
Oh
your
God.
artwork for the
This is
next day. It's
reminding me
like,
too much, man.
yeah, it's what it
I'm gonna
is,
get
right?
sick. I'm gonna get sick
Yeah.
thinking about it.
And,
I'm just
and you
kidding.
see that everywhere. You literally see that everywhere, unfortunately. So
Yeah. I
Maybe
see.
it's because, yeah. Go ahead, Alex.
Sorry, another quote, my guys. Um, what was? Oh my God, I'm just drawing blank right now. Never mind. That was awkward.
Yeah. So,
that's
no,
the
I was
quote.
saying, yeah, that's a quote. No, I was saying that I think a lot of people get into the business because
Got
they
it, got
get
it, got it.
passionate about it, right? And they want to make that process just better and they want to dive into it, but they don't understand that this is a business as well. And I think screen printing and all the apparel decorating industry can be really, really passionate because there's so many things you can be proud of when you actually make the work, right? And it comes out nice. So I think we forget the business side of it. And a lot of people just dive in and stay there for 20, 30 years, just being passionate about something and not realizing that they're missing out on a shit ton of life that they can actually get by turning this into a business. So when Alex, you touched on based on it earlier and you said like the best thing for me was getting off the operation and getting a press,
Yep.
like a press manager. I don't know how you call him, like a lead screen printer. I think you hit the nail on the head right there. It's like you decide to choose and scale your business because it's a business. The real problem of a screen print is not making great screen printing. The real
Yep.
problem as a screen printing business is scaling it with a team and then having processes there, which is technology, people. That's the real business behind it. Because at a certain point, any business you're going to have are going to have the same type of processes, whether it's marketing, finances, production, sales. It's all the same thing. The bigger you grow. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
I remember the quote now.
Go ahead. There we
Okay,
go.
my
Let's
guys.
hear it.
All right, yeah. No, I just realized with my print shop, I am not the best printer. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I've recently heard that it's just like it's not who's the best at their craft, it's who's the best known. And with social media and stuff
Mhm.
like that, I look at all these print shops and they're fucking killing it. They're doing not gnarly ass 12, 16 color prints, stuff like that. I'm like, good for you. But the thing is, you have 100 followers on freaking
Yeah.
Instagram. It just ain't quite. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather just be 80% as good as you and have all the clients than just to focus on something like that. There's no better
Totally.
time spent than making the videos, bro. Like that,
I agree.
Yeah.
that is what scaled us to the next level. And that's what I can just attest to for every freaking, it doesn't even matter what you're doing. It's not just screen printing. If you're selling fucking cookies, you
Yep.
better be making videos.
Amen.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. And again, that's, and there's some massive print shops that have no one, they don't even have an Instagram page, or they don't have a Facebook page or anything, or TikTok.
Facts.
And you're
But they're
so
still
true. And
crushing.
again, yeah, they are. But they're not getting the young people. That's the thing. They're not getting the people who are new into the industry, who are trying to find a good printer. They're working on their reputation or dealing with the same promotional companies for years. They're not getting the next generation of customers, and I think that that's what they're missing, right?
In 30 or
Agree.
40 years, we'll see the transition for sure. Or we're seeing the transition right now. Because I ran into the
Exactly.
Superline wholesale dudes, and they're like, you guys aren't like any other screen printing shop right now. Because every screen print shop owner that they come across, they're damn 40 or 50 years old, and they just don't care about the trends as much, you know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
so just you gotta be on trend, you gotta be on culture. So once those people, hate to say it, die out, but you know what I'm saying? They're kids that are going to take over. They're going to come to the people that they've already seen on the internet hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times.
And guess what?
So,
those young guys that you got in with at the beginning in their, when they're just starting out, like you could be printing for the next Supreme right now, and they're going to grow with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're young,
100%.
they're starting out, they're hungry. You know what I mean? So you pick up a customer, and yeah, it might be a pain in the ass. Yeah, the volumes aren't there, but I'm sure you've seen that. I'm sure you've had customers when you first started with, they were doing nothing, and now they're like, wow, like serious customers, right?
Yeah, no, I've definitely, one of my great friends who like started off, he was printing on Gildan's with a shitty ass local screen print from a 50-year-old screen print shop owner. And I was like, dude, you need to bite the bullet and pay the cost for quality, bro. Like, and watch it return. He was moving, I don't know, 50 pieces. Now that dude's moving over 500 pieces every 2 months. And like,
Wow.
he's pumping. I'm like, bro, that's what I'm saying, man. Gone are the days of the cheap shit. Nobody
Yep.
wants a $20 shirt. They want a dope ass $40 tee that they can rock
Yep.
over and over again.
So true. So
I agree.
true.
It's been
Awesome,
fun,
man. Listen, yeah, this was a good pod.
I like
we
this.
should probably do some more like shops every once in a while, because those are usually really, really good conversations. I mean, we've
I
only done
agree.
2.
I seen the one on YouTube, the contract print shop.
Oh,
I think you have one. I don't know, but you were sitting with him in person.
yeah, that was Jesse from Avid. Yeah, he's the one I mentioned a couple times. His shop's
Yeah.
killer. So we got to get him on here. That was just like a RB Digital client spotlight video that we did.
Yeah,
and that
yeah,
was
yeah.
actually because we held our screen print training class at his shop.
That was good.
Wow.
Actually, I just
wow,
got an idea
it's-
here. How about for the next screen print training class, we fly up Alex and we do a little streetwear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do something like that. We can run
that-
something up like that.
That'd be
For sure.
cool.
That'd be
Have you
fun.
been to Canada before?
Do I need a passport for Canada? No, I haven't.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Get your
You got to
passport
get on
done.
that, man. Hey, if you want to blow up, you got to be able to travel too, right?
Yes.
There we go.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Let me ask you something. Since you guys are in Canada, you guys know about Full Send, right?
Yeah,
No,
of course.
Yeah.
What
yeah.
shop?
So
I mean, there has to be a mega shop out there that's
Avid.
running all that.
Avid.
Is it Avid?
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew it. I could connect this crap.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
They do
So,
fulfillment and stuff too, I'm sure, right?
Everything.
They're running PrinSimple, baby, full force.
Done. You guys are next
nah.
up. Yeah.
Yeah,
You guys are next
we're in
up.
all the big shops, bro. Good, man. Hey, I had a really, really good time. Some really good discussion. I remember I think I reached out to Alex on our second or third episode. He's like, yeah, just keep it rolling, and if it keeps going, I'll hit you up. We'll do it. So it was nice to get him in here, and yeah, it's been awesome. I appreciate the content that you put out for the industry, and look, I use it, on my page and to engage with other customers, and I think you're doing a really cool thing for the industry, and I'm happy to see that you're being rewarded with the growth. I hope it continues in that trajectory, and yeah, man, I'm expecting to do some really exciting things with you and see you continue to grow as well. We gotta find the fit. You're in the States, so we gotta figure out how it's gonna work, but one way or another, we're gonna do some cool shit together.
I see you guys at Long Beach? Will you guys be there in a couple months? Long Beach?
Yeah, we'll
All right,
probably be there.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys at the club and shit. But
Yeah,
For
there
sure.
you go.
I know Zach's
We'll
gonna be there.
Yo, bring Shaq.
Dude, the whole Shaq thing. whenever I see my family members, they're like, "How's Shaq? How's Shaq?" I'm like, "Oh my God, I haven't talked to you in like a couple of years." The
Yeah,
first
yeah,
thing
yeah.
that they say is, "How's Shaq?" But that's what's
That's
up, guys.
funny.
It's been real fun. You guys are awesome as hell. I'm glad I didn't, be a little bitch because I was like, oh, do they really have the questions sorted out and shit like that?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
no, you guys know what you're talking about. So I appreciate it, honestly.
Been fun for sure. All right, so we're gonna leave everybody, but Alex, just stay on a bit. It's gonna upload online over air, maybe like a minute and whatnot. But thanks everybody for listening, and we're gonna catch you next week. Ciao, everybody.
Awesome. Peace out.